Welcome back to another explainer. Today, we're diving into something that's probably blowing up your feed right now: passive income myths. We really need to cut through all that fake financial guru hype, right? So, we're going to look at the actual nuts and bolts of wealth building. We'll be pulling grounded, real world facts straight from our source material to figure out what actually works. Let's just jump right in. Okay, let's dive into this first big question. Does passive income mean making money while doing absolutely nothing? I mean, we've all seen the aesthetic, right? Some guy lounging on a beach, laptop closed, swearing the cash is just rolling in on autopilot. But look, our source flags this immediately as myth number one, this toxic idea that passive means zero effort. Honestly, holding on to this one misconception is exactly what traps so many smart people in just endless cycles of frustration. The fantasy pushes this whole easy money narrative, but the source points out a much tougher, honestly, kind of unglamorous truth. Work comes first, and the income comes later. The passive part of passive income, yeah, that only kicks in at the very end of a highly active front-loaded process. It's definitely not money for nothing. It's really a delayed reward for some serious, intense, upfront effort. So, before any income stream actually becomes passive, the source is super clear. You've got to invest heavily right at the start. And you're paying with four distinct currencies here: time, effort, skills, or money. It's an ironclad trade-off. If you don't have a ton of upfront capital to invest, well, you're going to have to compensate heavily with your time to build the right skills. There is literally no magic bypass here. You have to pay the toll with these resources before the money ever starts flowing on its own. Now, once people finally accept that, yeah, they actually have to do some work, they usually fall right into the next trap: the timeline. Will passive income make you rich overnight? I want you to mentally challenge those flashy social media promises for a second. If this genuinely requires the heavy lifting of time, effort, and building skills like we just talked about, is it really going to happen by next Tuesday? No way. While the fake gurus aggressively push this whole get-rich-quick fantasy, real-world entrepreneurs operate on a totally different wavelength. The explainer source material is crystal clear on this. Building wealth is a slow, methodical process. It's like laying down brick after brick, right? Not just waiting around for a lucky scratch-off ticket. Embracing the slow path is, ironically, the absolute fastest way to get there without totally burning yourself out. Think about it. The illusion sold by those guys hawking a $99 shortcut, that's usually measured in weeks. But true planning and consistency, that takes months of unglamorous, behind-the-scenes grinding. And the actual timeline for building robust, self-sustaining income streams is measured in years. Understanding this real-world chronology is basically your best defense against that overwhelming urge to just quit when you aren't a millionaire after month one. Okay, so if overnight success is a total illusion, what actually works in the real world? Let's pivot away from debunking the myths for a second and look at the practical, legitimate vehicles for wealth building that the source actually details. The source breaks the legit avenues down into two main buckets. First up, you've got investments. Think dividend stocks, rental properties, things that heavily rely on that upfront capital we mentioned earlier. And second, there's content creation. We're talking YouTube channels, digital products, which demand intense upfront time and skill instead of just cash. Whether you lean toward the financial investment route or the digital creator route, both are totally grounded, legitimate ways to build that delayed passive income. But listen, here's the massive catch. Every single one of these ideas fundamentally requires consistency. You can't just buy one rental property or upload a single video and then vanish into the sunset, right? Ongoing planning and reliable, steady effort are the engines that keep these streams alive. In fact, losing momentum and abandoning projects too early is exactly why so many of these ventures just completely fail before they ever even reach the passive stage. And this brings us to what might actually be the most damaging illusion of the whole bunch: thinking that passive income is going to replace your day job immediately. I see this all the time. People start a dividend portfolio or they launch a digital product, and they fully expect to just confidently quit their 9 to 5 next month. Then reality sets in, and they just give up. You got to remember, your current job is actually the funding engine for your future wealth. It's not the enemy you need to instantly defeat. Let's look at how this all actually builds. The realistic roadmap to financial freedom always starts small. We're talking about buying fractional shares, not buying entire apartment buildings right out of the gate. Then, step 2, stay consistent. Because as we've learned, consistency is literally the glue holding this entire strategy together. And finally, let that income compound and grow over years, not just weeks. This right here is the grounded blueprint for real success. Now, to stay grounded in all these realities and get practical money tips that actually acknowledge the hard work required, Our source points straight to following Future Wealth Daily to build wealth smarter. Honestly, surrounding yourself with realistic financial advice is a huge part of staying on that multi-year track and just tuning out the internet hype. Well, we've dismantled the myths and we've laid out the reality. So I want you to ask yourself, are you ready to stop chasing these illusions and start building real wealth, slowly? Embracing that slow, steady path of consistent effort, that is the actual, true secret to the passive income dream. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep building.